Hi again, Andy back. Here we are for Engineering 1210, back to get into more birdhouse design. You recall where I left off was with this birdhouse that's now a hollow tube with a new perch hole cut through it of the size of a 1/4 inch dowel. And I've made this funky thing. Well, it doesn't really seem like I've done a whole lot, but there's some stuff now that this will allow us to get to. Because the way I'm already thinking and how I would describe that early on this was going to be made was this thing's going to be cardboard and I'm going to fold it. Well, you'll find SolidWorks has a bunch of really interesting things you can do. And remember, this is a physical kind of tool used for designing real stuff. So if you look down under the insert, everything's a feature, which is why it's an insert. One of the things you can look at inserting sheet metal. So, okay, this isn't going to be sheet metal, it's going to be cardboard, but same idea. I'm going to go to this convert to sheet metal. And I've already got it set up so it's 2 millimeters thick. I want my base to be there, and I could go and select all the bend edges, but luckily I should be able to do that smart selection. I'm going to not make the default radius for bends that. I'm going to make that default radius 0.5. There, it did that. So it converted it now. It doesn't look much different. Well, it does a bit. It's got a slice here. But you know, if I make it like that, and I've got that slice, that's going to be kind of ugly. And it's going to be hard to assemble, and it's going to have a slice down the middle. So I think I'm going to go back to that insert sheet metal, and I'm going to insert an edge flange. If you've ever assembled anything out of cardboard or looked at a milk carton or tried to make anything with cardboard and tape, you'll know that having a corner is really handy. So I'm just going to pick edge flange, and it wants to know what edge I want to do this on. I'm going to scroll around there, and I want this edge. And it's going back different ways. I'm going to make this flange, make it nice and big, 23 millimeters back. And it doesn't look quite right, because it's going to be kind of intersecting the other piece of the cardboard. I could put it on the inside, and then I'll have that ugly edge on the front of my birdhouse. I could put it on the outside, and I can play around with these. I'll make my offset similar to what I want this to be, 2 millimeters. Give it lots of space. So there's the gap in my cardboard. Maybe that's too big. Maybe I should make that 1 millimeter. How's that look? It looks like it might actually not quite fit. I can play around with that. I'll make it 1.5. Really, this is a tiny little detail that will make no difference. And I'll fill that with glue. So that should work quite nicely. And so now I've got this sheet metal thing. It's got a funky tab up here that I'm not really happy with, but I might have to cut that in the end. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll try and cut that, but we'll leave it for the moment. So now I can save this, and if I go to Tools, to Insert, Sheet Metal, and you'll see that I can unfold this. My fixed face is that. Collect all the bends that are going to be unfolded. And there we have. That's what the cardboard that I'm going to build will look like. Now, the value here is that I can take this piece to a laser cutter, and I can exactly cut this profile so that my part is really easy to make really precisely. And I can fold it around, glue it together, and Bob's your uncle, it'll be a really nice vertical piece for a birdhouse. I could make it out of cardboard, as I kind of intended for a prototype. I could make it out of plexiglass, because that's easily bent with a bit of heat. I could make it out of sheet metal, so I could make a cool galvanized, high-tech looking birdhouse. Whatever. If it were in sheet metal, then I would be spot welding these bits to this after it's bent, and that would be great. So I've got this now in a state where it's beginning to look like an actual part. So I'm just going to roll back up there. And I can do that. Actually, I think what I'll do is I'll suppress that. That's always a handy way to take something you don't want to have evident and just keep it from getting in the way. So now I have this part just like it's going to look. Maybe I'm going to cut this because I really don't want that tab up in that corner sticking up. So I'm just going to make an extruded cut here, go there, and I'm going to convert that line, and I'll draw a line up and over and down. Now, one of the things that's sometimes difficult is if you don't quite, you can't really see what view you're in. Well, this view tool lets you go and you'll see with where to go. You can be normal to your sketch plane. And so that's a bit easier to see. I'm going to trim that. I'm going to extend that. And then I'm going to trim that. That ought to do the trick. And enough of this. And now how deep will I cut it? I think I want to cut it from the sketch plane. I can go up to vertex and I can pick that vertex. So I can just cut that right to there. Boom. So now that might not be the best. Maybe I should have cut that less. Yeah, we'll edit that. Maybe I want to cut it up to vertex. I don't want to pick that vertex. I'll pick that one. See what that does. Yeah, it's still kind of a funky cut there. Something weird's happening with that. It's funny because I have these curves, and when you get right down to making it, these are so tiny that they're minuscule and not much of a worry. When you start doing CAD stuff, everything has to be ridiculously right. So I'm just going to make another cut. I'm going to convert that line. And I'm going to go from there to there to there to there. All of these things are quick and dirty, not the best practice, because if I make any changes at all, a lot of these things won't be changed. But sometimes quick and dirty is not so bad. There. So I cut that tab off. And that should still work just fine for me. Now if I go back up to Insert, Sheet Metal Unfold, wonder if it'll still unfold for me. Fixed face that, collect all bends, and it still does. And this time it does it without that funky tab on the corner. So that'll be good. Now, this part, as it's unfolded, is the part that I will send to the laser cutter. So we'll talk about that in the next video. Talk to you soon.